Hello and welcome back. I am super excited. Today is another awesome day because I get to cast again in my garage. So fun fact, I'm actually later, Lauren. I forgot to say hello to you guys before I started early this morning. So we got probably like half an hour before I go ahead and take the flask out of the kiln, but I'm gonna take this time right now to explain to you guys what I'm actually doing. So if you watched the last video where I cast brass pieces to make like little charms for my leather goods, today we're kind of doing another similar project. I am going to make one of these for one of these. So basically it's like a little custom stamp for my hot foil stamp machine. So it's going to be made out of brass again. I'm just going to cast the actual part with the words on it, the actual stamp, and then I'm just going to solder the screw on that's going to go inside the little piece. You'll see later. I'll try to show you guys once it's actually finished. We are going to be casting with brass today, and we're doing another 3D print with the PolyCast by Polymaker, which this will be my third time actually casting with the PolyCast, and I've actually come to really enjoy it. It does save a lot of cleanup time. The other pieces we got out last time look really great, so I feel like I'm really getting the hang of it. So a couple of quick notes before we get started. Right here, I'm going to be using the same Graphite Crucible that I used last time that is just for brass. I'm not mixing it with the one that I use for silver. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail in this video because at this point I've made several casting videos that are longer. I want to kind of keep this short. I'll still hit you with greatest hits highlights, and then you and I will meet back at the end and we'll kind of talk about what I think I could have improved on, or hopefully we get a cast. One thing I am going to show you before I actually highlight the casting process here is I'm going to show you kind of how I assembled this file in Bambu Studio. I actually had two separate files that I created in Illustrator. One that was just the actual letters, and then one that was just like the size of the rectangle that I wanted. And then I merged the two so that it was like one actual piece inside of Bambu Studio. And I'll show you that visual in a minute. As usual, I'm gonna give my disclaimer before I get started. I am not a professional metal casting genius or rocket surgeon or anything like that. I'm just a girl who lives in your screen and tries to do a little weird show and tell every week. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to work. Okay, so here we are in Bambu Studio. Bear with me a little because I'm not an expert at this. These are two separate files that I created in Illustrator and exported as SVG files. I imported both of these onto the same plate, one at a time. Over here on the side, under where it says generic PLA, I selected objects so that I can see what's on the plate. I'm gonna just select both of these files, right click, and then select merge. Now I'm gonna go back over here to the assembly and select all of my letters. You can see here that you can scoot down the line and select what you'd like, which is good because there may be a situation where you just want to isolate something specific and move it. But in this case, I just want to select all of my letters. Now I'll head up to the move tool up here and I want to select object coordinates. Now I can move the letters I selected where I want. And Bambu's kind of helping us out here. If you click around, it's color coded so you can get an idea of what's what. It's helpful to rotate your viewpoint a little bit here too and make sure that things are where you need them to be and we're not just floating in time and space. And as you can see, I'm able to click on the Z-axis arrow to position this. And you can kind of tweak the scale if you like before you print, but I've already measured my machine with my calipers, so I know this is a good size for me. Once you're ready to print, just hit slice plate, then print plate. This ended up being about a 51-minute print job for me with a 0.2 millimeter nozzle.
Yeah, looks like we got it. Someone suggested that we put this in the ultrasonic, and I probably will. I'm going to try to clean it a little bit. It looks like we might have lost the M here a little bit. I don't know, did we get it? Yeah, I think we did lose one letter, so we'll see if the other one came out better. Here's the second one. As you can see, we didn't quite get it. It looks like we lost that part of the cast. Now this is hilarious. I actually think this part of this piece is missing, and I'm missing this part of this piece. So I'm almost tempted to clean these up and put them together. All right, let's get these cleaned up.
All right, we are in my lair slash lab slash studio because after I cast the brass, it's just sometimes I get those kind of like zinc floaties in the air and all that. And I like to kind of just leave my garage open and kind of let that air out so I don't have some horrible lung problem later. So I did put these in the ultrasonic. Shout out to whoever recommended I do that. That is much smarter than trying to poke it with a soldering stick and scrub it with all your brass brushes over and over again. All right, so it's not entirely clean, but it is my bedtime. But I think I got it clean enough for you guys to be able to see what we got a little bit better. So oddly enough, I, for some odd reason, sprued them up in different directions from the bottom, and I managed to get decent cast of opposite ends, if you can tell. So I think I can salvage this by cutting, and then I can just solder my two halves together. And I think I'll still be able to use this the way that I want to use it, as long as I make sure everything is flat and straight and really even. Okay, so why did this happen? When I first was spruing this up, well, you know what? Let's cut to the chase. I did a crappy job spruing this. I really did. You can tell that the bottoms of these, this is where the base would be. I really just didn't do a very good job. I sprued this part okay, but I really should have done a better job. And I think it was a little bit better at the beginning. Same goes for here. I lost like the entire part that is closer to the base. I lost that whole section on this guy. So why did that happen? Well, I think it was sprued up a little bit better at first. And the flask that I was using, I think was maybe a little bit short for this. And so I got a little nervous, and I tried to shorten it from the bottom just a little bit. I have a taller flask, but the problem with the taller flask is when I put it in the kiln, the space that I have for the flask inside of the kiln is really not very big. And so that other flask fits in perfectly, but it doesn't allow for me to put anything under the bottom of the flask in order to kind of prop it up and let the wax evaporate out. So it doesn't do me any good if the flask fits in there, but then it's totally flat and the wax is just doesn't have anywhere to go. That's why you see me put those, like, it's like a kiln furniture thing I got, and I just broke it so it fit in there. But the one that I use all the time is really the one that I really think fits perfectly in the kiln. The other one, I wonder if maybe I could cut that flask down just a little bit so that I could do slightly taller things. But when this was in our regularly scheduled kiln, we were dangerously close to the top. So that's how we ended up here. Hopefully I have a little time this weekend. I'm going to clean this up, get this done, and then I would like to end this video by showing you how this works in the hot foil machine. So it shouldn't take me too long to do that. I think maybe I will soak this overnight. So I think one of the things that I wanted to get from this particular cast is, up until now, this is our third time casting with the PolyCast, and I don't feel like I've done anything that was super detailed until now. And this is incredibly detailed in terms of like having really small things. And I feel like this did a really good job with like clarity of the letters. As long as we forget about my like shoddy spruing job, then I think the PolyCast itself really did a fantastic job, right? And like I said this in the other video, I think the trick to the PolyCast here is when I cast wax, I use the 99% alcohol, I brush it, and that's mostly just to get all the debris off. But I think with the PolyCast, it comes out a little bit better if I brush it and then I wait and then I brush it, and I do several times with the 99% alcohol, then I just tend to get a better cast. The parts that I did get, I'm actually really happy with, and I think this was a fun experiment and project. Yeah, hopefully I can close out this video with a completed project for you, but in terms of tonight I think I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. If I just show you my project and you don't see my face again, I am really grateful for you guys watching. I have a lot of new subscribers here who I did not think people would ever subscribe to me messing around in my garage or taking weird trips or wherever, however you decided to push the button. I'm grateful to have you here. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and comment down below. I want to know what you want to see from me next. What are your experiences with the PolyCast? And if you have any tips for me, I would love to hear them because they're usually always helpful. I love all the people who comment. Everybody who comments on these videos, you guys always have something helpful to say. Thank you for being a really good audience to my shenanigans. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Go forth, be kind, be creative. Not terrible. I think all I have to do is do a little more sanding. My letters will come out a little bit better. Just got to make sure that everything's a little more even. But so far, I would say that this was pretty successful. Just a few little tweaks and we'll be well on our way.